Obsidian, the creators of Fallout New Vegas, have just released a new trailer for their new fantasy first-person RPG game, and it's called Avowed. And it really does look like Obsidian are now taking on Bethesda's Elder Scrolls 6 after the raging success of their last game, The Outer Worlds, which many fans refer to as the Fallout killer. But now let's break down what we can expect from Obsidian's new RPG, Avowed, because I have a ton of information on it beyond just the trailer footage you guys are seeing in the background. And if you guys want to stay up to date on the latest Avowed news, because I am going to be playing and making loads of guide videos about this game as soon as it comes out, make sure you subscribe and press the bell icon to stay up to date with the gameplay and its release date. So firstly, the world of Avowed is actually based in the same world as Obsidian's other game, Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2, which is an isometric top-down RPG game. Now the great thing about this is that the world is already established, the lore, the characters, the cities, the magic systems, but now we're going to be witnessing the world of Pillars of Eternity from a first-person perspective. Now if you're not familiar with Pillars of Eternity, let me summarize it for you so you have a good understanding of what this first-person version of the game Avowed will actually be like. So the story takes place in the world of Eora in the Eastern Reach, which is broken up into several nations, each with their own ruling factions and climate, from deserts and mountainous jungles to wastelands. To give you an idea of like the state of technology and time period right now, they're kind of in the period of the early Renaissance, so firearms are relatively new as an invention and they're quite cumbersome to use still. So they are great against mages, but a lot of other factions don't really use them, and we're still very much sitting in our castles with swords and shields and magical powers. The game also has 6 races you can choose from, by the way, but a factor of great conflict over all of the world currently is the recent scientific discovery that souls are not a metaphysical abstraction but are actually quantifiable. So souls can be transferred, stored and molded, and in this world of the Pillars of Eternity, souls are actually the basis of magic. So accessing their power is what allows certain people to use it. So usually when a person dies, their soul would leave their body and they would go into a newborn body. However, that soul will actually keep the embodied memories from their previous life. But some people have a special ability where they can be awoken. And what this means is that they will actually be able to know what happened in their previous life, even in their new body. So they gain an awareness of their past life. These people also have a supernatural ability to see other people's past memories as well. And usually in Pillars of Eternity, you play as one of these awoken people and they're called Watchers. So this is kind of like your special ability within the game. However, many of the other factions, especially religious communities, are scared about this, and this has kind of turned the whole world into absolute turmoil and destruction. For example, some people are using souls to become more powerful, make their magic more powerful. So one area of the game called Drywood is actually cursed by the Hollowborn Plague. And these are children being born without souls, leaving them totally unresponsive, in a way similar to literally just being a vegetable. But if we go back to the trailer again and take a closer look at some of the distinctive features you can see here, starting out with the castle battlement, we can see a flag for an older faction that fell from grace, and this faction also bears the symbol of the god Boudica. And she's a deity of justice, promise, rulership, memory, oath and vengeance. She's kind of like almost like a modern day lawyer, but in the confines of this fantasy world. She's known as the Strangler to some cultures, since those who break an oath are strangled as a punishment. To others, she's known as the Exiled Queen, and this was because she was actually one of the strongest gods who was ever created, by the sacrifice of 1,000 souls, but the other gods were jealous of her power and decided to banish her. So in Pillars of Eternity 1 and 2, a lot of the storyline surrounding Boudica is about her return to power, and there are still a lot of cults and factions that worship her and like to maintain the order she supplies. The most interesting of her names though is Oathbinder. And the reason for that is because later on at the end of the trailer, we see the protagonist with a sword that, thanks to Tack Lane on Reddit, has been translated using the Adoran language that exists in the Pillars of Eternity games. Essentially, each rune corresponds to a letter in English, and now you can see down each side of the sword, this actually translates to Oathbinder. Written so you can see it whether you're holding the sword one way, upright, or downwards, you can still read it. Once again though, it seems like you as the protagonist may be communicating with Wodika during the storyline and using your abilities as a watcher to help her in some way. And even the dialogue throughout the trailer even makes reference to the oath, the crown, and the meaning of it, so it's actually going to be a prevalent part of the storyline.
Is an oath worth the weight of a crown?
We can also see within the trailer that it really does look like we're currently witnessing the last stand of mankind behind their fortress walls against the undead, soulless forces that litter the wasteland. And we can see some of the enemy characters here. But also, if we take a look at the old lead character designer artist at Obsidian, his name's Craig Matchett, I believe. He has an ArtStation profile, and we can see that some pieces he has there may actually be within the game. These pieces are described as character models and original concepts I created for a medium enemy type for an Unreal 4 game project. Now we know that Obsidian does indeed use the Unreal Engine to develop their games, so I'm 90% sure, even though Craig does not still actually work at Obsidian exclusively, that he will still be working with them as a freelancing artist. We also get a peek at some Skyrim looking first person view here with the spell in the left hand and the weapon in the right. Now obviously this is something we're very used to seeing from Skyrim, and it's a really cool thing that we like. And I really hope the animations for the magic really do look this smooth, and hopefully the lighting and whatnot is half as good in the actual gameplay. We also know from Obsidian's website that there is actually some job postings for somebody to create first-person firearms for an upcoming game, though it's not specified what. But we do know that obviously in Pillars of Eternity and the world and the lore, firearms do exist, so I'm like 90% sure we will see them in this game, as well as bows, shields, maces, and other more obvious weapons. And there's also some postings asking about narrative-driven dialogue and so on, which we expect from any Obsidian game now, especially after we played through the Outer Worlds. There were so many choices, characters, romance options. That game was just so well done, and I just wish there was more of it to play, to be honest. So knowing how successful the Outer Worlds was, I have high hopes for this fantasy set RPG first-person gameplay experience. Unfortunately though, if you own a PS4, you probably won't be able to play this game. It seems like it's only coming out as an Xbox One and the new Xbox exclusive. It's also going to be on the Xbox Game Pass as well. So graphics wise, you can probably expect it to be like current gen. Not so much next gen, though I reckon we'll have some advancements in lighting. As for an actual release date, we honestly have no real idea, though it could very well be released alongside the new Xbox console, or maybe at least a little bit later. What's clear is that this game has been in development for quite a while, so I don't think it's anywhere near off as far as we might think, like maybe 1 year, 2 years maximum, I'd say at a guess. But the nice thing is, it is coming out on Windows 10 PC, so all you PC players like myself can still play it. Either way guys, I am very excited for this new project from Obsidian, and most of their previous RPG games like Fallout New Vegas and The Outer Worlds only gives me more confidence about what we can expect from this. And of course guys, if you want to follow along with the release date and gameplay updates from this game, please go ahead and subscribe and press the bell icon for updates. And I will see you in the next video. Have a great day and goodbye.
Is an oath worth the